Okay, so I never ended up following up on the idea of a podcast, which I should have followed up on. It's not even a podcast, it's just me rambling my thoughts about my writing. And it's like, I do that all the time, so why not put them somewhere where people can see and can tell me what they think and tell me which of my written ideas they'd like to see come to fruition. Anyways, that's what happens, I guess, when you grow up being super self-conscious of the sound of your own voice. I guess tonight I'm going to try and record something short-ish about the stuff I work on writing and hope that maybe some people enjoy it and can tell me their thoughts. I had thought this out before I started. I spent a few days thinking about what I wanted to talk about, and now I'm just totally blanking. So I think in the future I'm gonna create something of an outline for myself to read. I also, last time I did this, I was recording myself drawing, but setting up screen recording software is hard. I mean, it's not hard for most people, but for me it's hard because I'm just stupid. And this is literally just... Oh, I probably just made this more difficult for myself because I'm going to have to figure out how to turn this into a video, but I'm doing voice recording on the generic voice recorder that comes with Windows, which isn't that bad of a program for people who just want to record. Didn't I do something in my phone? No, that was for a completely different thing. Sorry, see, can't focus on things. Hence why making recordings like this can be difficult. Anyways, Nadia and Lucille. Those names mean nothing to you because you've never read the thing I'm writing that, oh my god. Am I allowed to edit out these parts? No, this will be the bits that make it more fun. Again, I'll try working on outlines for this. How long will I go on with this? Minimum 15 minutes, maximum, maybe I'll end up rambling for 3 straight hours. I don't know. Hopefully not 3 straight hours, because even then you guys will probably start getting bored. Anyways, a while back, I thought to myself, I love writing. I love writing fan fiction, but I really need to work more on original fiction. Well, no, not a lot of people really want to read my original fiction in a way that will earn me money. And by that I mean such that, I don't know. I really don't. Basically, it occurred to me that people tell me I am really good at writing smut. So, perhaps I should attempt to write erotica, at least for the sake of money making. I don't know. So I was lying in bed thinking, well, if I did, what would I write about? I didn't want it to be boring. I didn't want it to just be something every day. I didn't want to just write, something you'd see in a porn. I guess anything you can see in a porn. They really do sometimes do just about everything, I guess. But I wanted it to be something unique-ish, to have enough of a story to keep people interested. People that want story. There are some people who don't want story to their porn. It's like, okay, well, I'll just notate, hey, for people who don't give a fuck about the story, go here. But I thought to myself, I'm bisexual, but I don't write nearly enough women love women fiction. And maybe it's bad of me to start writing that in erotica form, but what the hell, So I'm laying there, and I come up with this idea of, okay, I've got a princess who is gay, and she is in a secret relationship with the daughter of a duke. That should be enough. That should be enough story to be like, okay, so they're secretly fucking and I can write about them secretly fucking. But then I was like, but where's the story? Well, I mean, it's all secret and they have to hide it. That's the story. But that's what everybody does with gay relationship writing and stuff is, oh, they gotta keep it hidden. And then they apply no other, not everybody. A lot of people, though. Enough that it gets tiring. So I thought, okay, yes, they have to do this. Because it's in a, what kind of setting? Is it so it is something setting-ish. You know, it's not just like modern day princess. It's medieval-ish, but not quite medieval. Fantasy medieval, you know, where you aren't, so certain laws are what you want them to be and others aren't. I don't know. And I was like, okay, well, what do they look like? Because obviously I'm going to want to describe them. And I thought, I don't want them to both be white because I should have some kind of representation in addition to gay. I'm not portraying this very well, am I? Anyways, my thought is, okay, at least one of them should be of color. And that's the moment where it clicks. And my brain goes from writing short, basic, minimum plot fiction to building a world. Because that's what I do, is I world build. I world build more than I actually write. That's why I need to talk more about my world building so that people can be like, hey, I like your world building. Could I read it in an actual story, please? And it ends up coming to this. The princess is half black. I'm actually still deciding it's going to be black or another race. I'm currently analyzing the culture of the mother. Let me start over. Okay. Fantasyland, right? And you've got multiple kingdoms. You got a king in one kingdom who is married to a woman from a kingdom that is a militaristic rival and was a peace alliance. He doesn't give a shit about her. Doesn't like her. Then there's another kingdom that is this mostly seafaring kingdom full of dark-skinned people that I am eventually going to figure out which race I want them to be exactly. But I just don't want to arbitrarily apply a certain race to the religion, to the, culture I design, because I shouldn't just, if I end up making the culture more, Polynesian or whatnot, it would be kind of shitty for me to just call them black people. And if I make the culture more, tribal and, African tribal and whatnot, it would be shitty of me to describe them as Middle Eastern. I should have outlined all this, but no, this is what happens when you let me just ramble off the top of my head. Anyways, the main kingdom, the one that we're focused on, the king falls in love with the daughter of a diplomat from this seafaring kingdom. So she is, for now, we will go with black. Again, I haven't decided if I want to make this culture more Caribbean, Polynesian, Mediterranean. I'm still nailing down the details of that culture, and maybe as I describe it in the future, people who are listening can help me figure out what exactly I should nail down this some of those details, like which race specifically they are. But land of the kingdom that this is set in, those people are predominantly white. So, white king falls in love with foreign black woman, has an affair with her. And this king is actually a decent king. Aside from cheating on his wife, he does his best to help his people, bring economic equality across everything. Generally beloved by the people. So it's very difficult for the court to go around and make people pissed at him for his decisions. The court is pissed at the king for having an affair with a black woman from a foreign nation. His wife from the other kingdom that is militaristically superior and constantly prodding them to be like, hey, have a kid with the woman we gave you, so that then we have bloodline on your throne. Yeah, he by that point had not had a child with that woman because he did not get along with her and did not have relations with her. Has relations with the woman from the seafaring kingdom, loves her, adores her, and ends up having a child with her, which pisses everybody in the court and the more militaristic kingdom off superiorly, especially when he openly declares his fatherhood to the people, so he does not hide that he has had this illegitimate child. He openly admits that he's done this, and he names her as a legitimate daughter, so an actual princess, something no other previous king or queen has done with their illegitimate children. As it's difficult with the queens to, you get what I'm saying. Big reason this comes into play is the king's dad also had numerous affairs with peasant women and other court nobles, but none of those kids had ever been declared as like legally parts of the royal family. So in order to make it that everybody has to recognize his daughter as part of the royal family and as his daughter and treat her kindly, he's just like, hey, well, I'm putting a law into effect where illegitimate children can be recognized as part of those families, on both noble and noble and non-noble lineages. The legitimate children have first claim to inheritances and blah blah blah, but then illegitimate children still get something. And the people are fine with that. Like, they're just like, well, I'm not too big a fan of the fact that my baby mama can now claim rights for me and whatnot, but you know what? You're a good king, and you're doing this to protect your daughter, so I'm not going to cause a riot. For the most part. Anyways. This just further pisses off the militaristic kingdom who had given him a woman to marry, because they're just like, so you're claiming that this daughter you had with this random woman is suddenly the heir to your throne when we have been pushing you to have an heir with this wife we've given you, and they're threatening war if he doesn't produce an heir with his wife to give them some sway over the throne. I wonder if this is picking up. I picked up my fidget cube. And honestly, as I've been playing with it, that's been helping me keep talking. So if it picks up on the mic, I apologize. But you know what? Maybe it makes for some decent background noise. Anyways, did I mention that all this backstory stems from the idea that I wanted to write erotica, and I just wanted to write short fiction erotica to just get people to notice my writing? Yeah, no, that's what happens when I try to write anything. It starts as a small idea, and then the moment I think of something, it's just like, well, why? Suddenly, I have an entire world built in my head. Woohoo! Anyways, the king, under pressure from his advisors and the courts and, the neighboring kingdom threatening war with him, does finally lay with his wife until she conceives a child and agrees to name that child the heir to the throne. So his daughter, with the woman from the seafaring kingdom, she still is his daughter, and she still gets all the rights that a princess would, just not access to the throne as a firstborn would normally. The mother of the princess, Nadia's mother, is upset by this. She doesn't, because of the politics in her kingdom and how a bit more loose, and they don't have these problems where she's from, because they're mostly self-sufficient. They're a group of islands with an overly powerful navy that no kingdom's ever been able to threaten. So the idea, she doesn't understand that, he has to do this. She kind of understands, but she is still upset by it. Doesn't help that the king's mother, who has always been a bit of a bitch face since her husband cheated on her 40 times and had multiple illegitimate offsprings, a la Robert Baratheon style. Yeah. She's been just emotionally tormenting Nadia's mother for years and years. Ever since she arrived, ever since Nadia was conceived and born. So anyways, when Nadia is 6 years old, the king's son with his wife is born. And on that day, the king's mother corners Nadia's mother in the castle tower. One of the castle towers, the one that was Nadia's bedroom, and is just tormenting her and telling her all these nasty things about how now that there's a proper heir to the throne, they'll send her ass back off to the seafaring kingdom where she came from, that Nadia will be sold off as a child bride, which wasn't going to happen. I say this, it wasn't going to happen. This is just the stuff that Nan was saying. And Nan was telling her how horrible a life her and her child were going to lead now that the king had a proper heir. And Nadia's mother is so distressed and so upset that she takes 6-year-old Nadia in her arms and she throws herself with Nadia out the window. You can kind of guess how that goes. This is a story about Nadia, so obviously Nadia survived. But typically, throwing yourself and your child, or being a child and having your mother throw herself and you out of a window, doesn't lead to not tragedy. And ultimately, Nadia's mother perishes in the fall, and Nadia is cushioned by her mother's body in such a way that she survives, but is crippled from the waist down. I'm starting to run out of steam for talking. But I'm going to end with this. After I put all the basics of this together, and I realized I had basically written one of my protagonists as of color, gay, and disabled, I flashed back to a post I read on Tumblr. God, it feels like centuries ago, but was probably just, 2012, 2014, maybe more recently. Fuck if I know. I know it's long enough ago that I will never find it, and that's about it. But the post basically was like one of those chat forum ones where it's just like somebody, you can't make your protagonist gay, black, and disabled. That's just too many minorities. With the next line being me, watch me, or something like that. And yeah, I guess I attempted to cram a whole bunch of minorities into one character, but my hope is that I can write it to work out really well. And yeah, when I post this, I believe I have a copy posted of a preview to my first chapter of this. So I will post that in the description. Pray with me that I figure out something interesting to put on the video screen alongside this recording. Actually, no, pray with me that I figure out how to turn this into a video file that I can upload to YouTube. Otherwise, all hope is lost. But, yeah. Tell me what you think. If there's any of the details from this that you want me to expand upon, I can attempt to expand upon it in my next one. And if I don't have too much more to talk about specifically with Nadia's backstory next time, then I'll probably get into discussing Lucille. Alright? Alright. Let's see. How long did that recording go? Oh, 22 minutes. Better than I expected. Felt like I was talking for longer. My jaw hurts. I do need to figure out video recording and something I could have done alongside this. If anybody has suggestions for easy screen recording, because I keep trying to use Open Broadcast, and half the time I can get it to work, and the other half is like, nah, brah. So, yeah, thank you, and good night.